Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back.
Do it.
That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure,
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
This week, we look at the beach town of Ocean Grove, New Jersey, where a man tried to get away with 2 horrific crimes. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay is right.
Give me murder.
My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
We can't thank you folks enough for joining us this week. I want to thank everyone for their iTunes reviews this week. Again,
they were huge.
You guys are amazing. You really
Ridiculous.
are. You warm the hearts of 2 completely dried up, frozen over comics. And thank you so much, really, guys. It means the world to us. If you haven't done it yet, please get on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. You can say anything you want. We don't care.
We're giving iTunes hell. That's what we're doing.
Perfect. There you go. Say that. Say anything you want. It doesn't matter. The 5 stars really help us out on the business end. And, it's more than we can explain. It's our life's blood. It means the world to us. If that is not enough for you to do, though.
Sometimes I got to do more.
If you're like, you know what? I signed in. I did this thing. I know it took 30 seconds. I did it. I helped them out. But it's not enough.
They exist.
You can do more.
You can.
You can. You can go on patreon.com/crimeinsports. That is our other podcast. All that goes to us. And you can make a donation there. There's some cool rewards. Absolutely, and every dime that we get is more appreciated than you could possibly imagine. Because
we got kids. James had no health insurance. We're trying to get it.
We're trying real hard.
Trying to get that and feed these kids.
So thank you guys so much for all of your help with that. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can go to PayPal, and you can do it at crimeinsports@gmail.com.
That's the one.
You can give it there and do that. Also, we have a special cool thing.
Yeah.
Our website is up and live right now.
It is.
It is truecrimecomedyteam.com. And you can go there. That has both our podcasts on there. And right now, what you can do, because we've had a lot of demand for this and we haven't had it, you can pre-order your T-shirts on there. We are going to have T-shirts for both podcasts, and you can pre-order them, and you'll have them within 30 days.
There you go.
Is the way we're going to do them. We'll ship them out to you, and it's great. We're excited about that. So you can get on there. You can order shirts. You can do your thing. And if you don't want to do any of that, you want to sit back and listen about some murder. We got murder. Let me tell you something. We got a lot of murder this week. We got murder stacked high and wide this week.
Is it higher than 7 and 2 cops?
No, it's not higher than 7 and 2 cops, but the way it was done makes it it's like a volcano. Ugh. It's swelled up higher.
No.
It's not great. It's some brutal crime, but that's okay.
Last week was five people, 7 total,
6 dead,
5 civilians, 2 cops. Right? Wasn't it 5 civilians?
4 civilians or 7 people. Yeah, so it was 5 and 2.
Anyway, go back and listen. You count.
But you count. But we'll give this a perfect time to give the disclaimer now that we're talking about this. Yes, this is a comedy podcast. All the facts are real.
Yep.
Cases are real. Promise you that. The research is real. Everything is real. We do make jokes, though. We're stand-up comics, and that's our take on this genre.
That's our gig.
Yeah, we don't want to sit here and go, well, then he cut her head off. Ugh. It's very dry, and that's fine. A lot of people like that, and that's good for them. I like some podcasts like that, too.
Yeah.
But we also want to do something a little different. Yeah. And so we never make jokes at the expense of the victims or the victims' families. That's not what we're about. We're not assholes here. No. We're really not. We are, but not in that respect. Right. Yes, we're assholes, but not scumbags, as we've said a lot. It's a good slogan. Our jokes come at the expense of these towns. They come at the expense of a bumbling police force. Maybe an asshole murderer that's done something stupid that we make fun of.
Maybe the technique.
You never know. But either way, if you think that true crime and comedy never belong together and no joke should be made around these things,
you're free to think that.
You're not going to like this.
No,
I'll just tell you right now. No, might as well hit the unsubscribe. We shake hands. Send you on your way. Say thank you very much for giving us a try, but we're not for you.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who is left, we're not your bag. If you're left out there after we've told you not to listen, as we like to do, we're the only podcast that thoroughly discourages people from listening.
Encourages going away.
Yeah, please don't listen. Okay, any chance you're going to be offended. I'd rather not hear about. I was offended by this and that. I'd rather just give it to the people who really, really are digging what it is. So. Without further ado, Jimmy, let's get down to business.
I'm so excited.
I am excited for this week. We are going to Ocean Grove, New Jersey this week.
My goodness. It sounded beautiful at first, and then you said New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah, and then it was not. I'm from New York, so there will be New Jersey bashing here. Sorry about that. It's part of my culture. I'm like a guy who grew up in like the 1910s in like down south. You know, it's like, well, you go, well, Grandpa's a little racist, but it's the time he grew up.
That's where he's from.
It's one of those things. Not that makes it okay to be racist, but I'm from New York. Yeah. We make fun of New Jersey. Yeah. Sorry, I'll keep it to a minimum as much as possible because New Jersey actually isn't that terrible.
Sounded awesome.
It's a pretty nice state,
Grove.
Actually.
In a cesspool.
That's New Jersey.
And it's Ocean Grove Sewer. That's what
exactly,
it is.
And it's just north of Atlantic City, which that'll tell you Atlantic City is a shithole. Yeah. And I don't think there's anyone in New Jersey that would dispute that fact.
Shit goes downstream.
Yeah,
and if it's downstream from Ocean Grove,
it's not going to be good here. It's on the east coast of the state. Obviously, it's in the ocean, or right on the ocean. Right. It's a beach town. It's right in the central part of the state, right on the shore. It's in Monmouth County.
Okay.
It is actually inside. Technically, it's inside Neptune Township.
Okay.
The way they do this is the towns back east are set up a lot different than they are out west.
Yeah.
When they're just kind of here's a square, that's a town.
Right.
The Neptune Township is the bigger town, and then inside that is another town called Ocean Grove.
Got it.
It's the way it works. It's a smaller town. There's about 25,000 people in Neptune Township, so that's not really a big town either by any stretch of the imagination. Zip code here in Ocean Grove is 07756, area code 732.
Okay.
You want to be aware of calls coming from there.
Are there several towns in that area?
There's towns everywhere. New Jersey's one of those places.
No, I mean in that Neptune Township.
There's a couple, I think, but this is the main one.
So this is like the yolk of the egg?
Kind of, yeah. Okay. This is at the beach, and then it goes out from the beach.
Got it.
Because this is an older town, and then I'll get into this exactly. Okay. It's a tiny town. It is less than half a square mile.
What?
428 square miles.
How can you even call that a town?
It's very small, and only 0.372 is land.
Wow.
The rest is the ocean that,
That's
out in
wild.
front. So it's a very, very small town. It is both an unincorporated community and, as we discussed last week, a census-designated place.
Okay.
For those who didn't listen last week, a census-designated place is a concentration of population defined by the United States Census Bureau for statistical purposes only.
Only. Just to count some shit.
That's what it is, yes. Basically, that's the deal here, and it's unincorporated, too. So it's saying, look, we don't want to be part of shit.
Nothing.
All right? God damn it. Screw you, Neptune Township. We're barely in New Jersey.
We
okay?
are seceding from everything.
We're seceding from New Jersey, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, this place was kind of, we'll call it founded here.
Yeah.
In 1869, a reverend named W.B. Osborne and a Reverend Stokes, there's no first name for him, he's just Reverend Stokes, and a bunch of Methodist ministers had a big camp there by the seashore. They had this, it's kind of like a religious...
He's Jersey. That's his first name, Reverend. I'll bet you.
Jersey Stokes. Jersey Stokes.
No, Reverend's his first name. That's
Reverend
on his birth certificate and everything. It's Reverend Stokes.
He had no choice. He knew what he was going to do from an early age. Like, sorry, you're Reverend. If we called you doctor, tough shit. You're going to be a doctor. I don't know what to tell you. These reverends liked the place so much they decided to establish a permanent Christian camp meeting community called Ocean Grove. So this was half of these towns. You know, most of these towns are started by people who are like, I could put a fucking church here.
Yeah,
I get people here talking some shit about God. Yeah, let's bring them in.
Bring a lot of people in here and lie to them.
They had about 20 tents that summer, and by the next year, though, they were parsing out plots, grading the land, selling off lots, planning a town. They were like, yeah, we're going to do this.
All in the name of Jesus.
All in the name of Jesus. That's right. Late 1800s, it was a big destination place for these religious. They'd go there a lot during the summer, and it's by the beach. It's nice. I mean, it seems like Jesus is an excuse to go to the beach.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, hey, we're going to go to the beach and Jesus and stuff. Yeah, we're going to bring your pail and your little shovel thing and a Jesus, and then we'll get to Jesus. And don't forget your bathing suit.
Jesus is plenty of a reason. Just putting my balls in the sand is a reason for me. I just don't want to be anywhere that's not near a beach. I love beaches. Beaches are great.
They are great.
I'm terrified of sharks, but I love beaches.
Yeah. Oh, they start 1870s. They really started building like wooden shelters and that sort of thing, tabernacle deals. People were coming in from New York like crazy after the 1870s.
Yeah.
In 1877, just the year 1877, 710,000 railroad tickets were sold for the Ocean Grove Asbury Park train station.
How are they going to get that many people in a half square mile?
So that's they're going to the beach. That's over the course of a year.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, so people are coming, and it kept growing and growing, and they were
over a year.
Over 1877. Right. It kept growing and growing.
Tourism's booming for that area.
Oh, it is.
Jesus.
It's huge. It's huge for them. But they were trying to keep it to religion. That's the thing. They didn't want it to be a party town.
Yeah.
They wanted it to be,
cult.
you come here and you worship by the beach type of thing. By the late 1890s, they'd outgrown all their church facilities, all their wooden shacks. They built the Great Auditorium.
Oh.
It's called the Great Auditorium, and it's still there to this day.
Really?
Completed in 1894.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
130 years old?
Under 20. But those old auditoriums that they built turn of the century and theaters are beautiful.
Yeah.
They're ornate. They're gorgeous, these
There's
things.
lots of wood on them, as the structure itself, and then concrete all over. They're
wild.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's originally designed to accommodate 10,000 people.
What?
And then later on, they did theater-style, seating and all that sort of thing and reduced it to about 6,000.
In 1890, they built that shit to hold 10,000 people.
Like there was an NBA game coming to town. Yeah.
That's amazing.
like the Knicks and Nets were going to play there or something.
I think they shot a little high, and they realized it when they chopped it down to 6,000. Listen, we're
6,
never going to
000.
fill this shit.
Yeah. Well, they had to put seats in and shit. Before that, it was like, I think they just did
standing room only for
10,000? Pews, probably, that sort of thing. And then they made it, hey, we can sell tickets if we have seats.
The presidential inauguration. There 10,000 people is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know what they're
standing room only. That's insane.
It's a huge deal. It's weird because after the World War I, church going was down a lot in this country, and it kind of it really disillusioned people. And I don't know. I think you see that kind of carnage, and you're like, you know what? Maybe fuck God. I don't know.
Not even just
I
fuck
got burned
God.
by mustard gas. This sucks. Like World War I was brutal. It was
maybe
brutal.
It's not fuck God. Maybe it's just there's definitely not one. If this shit exists.
That happened, this is bad shit. Because I'm telling you guys, like I've been listening to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, which is a tremendous podcast, and he has like a 5-part series on World War I.
Really?
It's fucking amazing, and they're like five hours each. They're incredible. It's the most brutal, horrific thing in the world.
He talks about all the atrocities and stuff.
Oh, it's the whole. What he talks about. Dan Carlin is he's like us with history. Like he goes up an ass with a microscope and finds every little thing and every detail and reads 20 books and goes, this historian's take and that historian's take.
Did he get like
it's amazing.
The fucking chemistry of mustard gas too? Jesus.
You would think he would, but yeah, that's what I mean. So I think maybe people came home and they were like, you know what, maybe not religion. Maybe I'm just going to have fun with my life because at any point I can be blown to smithereens in a trench somewhere.
Also, too, I've been home for 6 months. My lungs still burn. Fuck God.
Yeah, fuck it.
He created mustard gas, or at least the elements to create it. Fuck him.
No shit, man. So at this point, people stopped coming for church as much, for camp meetings.
Yeah.
It's known as like a time capsule of the early 20th century because of the architecture.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that there is no new structures here at all.
Okay.
The average home is 75 years old in this place.
Wow.
So that's a lot. That's very old. It's
that
the
means
oldest.
There's younger and much older.
Much older.
Yeah.
Much older. The Ocean Groves, they had a municipal authority until 1981. That's when they folded into Neptune Township.
Okay.
'Cause it's odd because before that, they had a lot of laws that were unique to Ocean Grove.
Yeah.
It was illegal. It was illegal on Sundays to have cars on the streets.
Just Sunday.
Just Sunday. Also, too, you were not allowed. The beaches were closed on Sunday.
Like so, cars on the street driving or cars on the street parked?
Anywhere.
At all.
Anywhere.
That's
no cars
crazy.
on the street. Clear the streets on Sundays.
Well, what if I got to go get my fucking wash
Tough
done?
shit. You can't do it. Do it another day. It's a day of rest,
My wife
asshole.
is having a heart attack.
Day
Tough
of
shit.
rest. Day of rest. What the fuck don't you understand about day of rest, Jimmy?
I cut my arm off. Day of
God
rest.
said rest, asshole. I don't know what to tell you. So sorry. I don't know. Put a towel on it for now. I don't know what to tell you. Got any duct tape? What
I
are you
can't
gonna
even
do?
go lay down at the beach.
No, it's closed.
My
Sorry.
arm's cut off. At least I need
it's
some
better.
relaxation.
Well, you know what? You just got sand in the wound anyway, so it's better off. Stay home. It's not going to
So
work.
much for day of rest. I can't go to the beach.
Nope, you can rest somewhere else, but not at the beach or in the streets in your car. Doesn't say anything about resting personally in the streets, but in your car, fuck no.
You're perfectly safe if you lay down in the street. Jesus.
No shit, man.
Unbelievable.
Well, they did this for a reason. The Sunday no beach thing was so people wouldn't come just for a weekend. That was so they would come for a week. That was to try to get people to come for a longer amount of time. So that was kind of a trick.
Yeah.
And they would try to, they also would want them to come to, camp.
Worship.
Yeah, camp activities also.
Sure.
From the 60s to the 80s, the town declined, like everything else on the East Coast. Started to deteriorate and fall apart. We always talk about these towns and these cities with crime and sports. It's falling apart.
Yeah.
The whole New Jersey seashore turned into a shithole.
Really?
I remember as a kid, like in the 80s, it was like the Jersey Shore was like, why what are you going there for?
Down the shore was a bad idea.
Well, every other day it was closed down because they found a shitload of hypodermic needles washed up and things like that. It was like toxic waste, and they were always closing the beaches. It was a total shithole. They nicknamed it at that point. People started to call it Ocean Grave.
Oh, that's clever.
Because not only is it just kind of a falling apart, decrepit beach town, but also, too, we'll get into the elderly population is amazing there. Amazing. But through the 90s, when people started moving away from New York City as it got more expensive, there was a huge increase in property values, and it's kind of restored the whole town.
Nice.
People started restoring hotels and that sort of thing.
Housing boom.
Yes, sidewalk cafes and all that sort of shit.
Hipsters.
Hipsters, exactly. They moved in. Even in the 90s, they were there. People in this town, population is 3,134.
Okay.
So not a big town here, but for that little area, they're cramming them in there.
They really are.
It is down 25% since 2000, 35% since 1990.
There was more.
There was a lot more, and they fucking took off.
Wow.
They left. There's about 1,000 more people. It's out of whack in here. Females are almost 61% of the population here.
Okay.
It's normally about 51%. There's 61. Whenever we do this, whenever it's more males, it's always like mining or logging or something like that. Whenever it's more females, old. Every time it's just everyone's 100 there. That's it. They outlived the men, and that's all. Otherwise, it's odd. I haven't found another reason that females would gather in a town unless half the people died off. Yeah, it's odd. The median age here is 51.8.
Jesus.
The average is 37 nationally, so that is excessively old. That's the oldest we've covered, I believe.
Yeah, I'm picturing like Pauly D in the Situation, elderly.
Yeah, they're just sitting there like, hey, man, this town's all right. Let's go down to the beach, see if we can get some chicks to take off their bikini tops,
You got some more grease? I got a little bit of hair left.
Let's go down to the camp revival and see what we got going on down there.
I got one spike left on my head.
I'm going to really stick it up straight, though. You know what I mean? How's my tattoo look? Is it good?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it looking
perfect.
all right?
The one that used to be on your biceps on your wrist.
No, it's on my forearm, but I think it looks good now. So,
he's got one spike left, and he's still frosting the tip.
He's frosting the shit out of it and gelling it like a little horn.
Hilarious.
Ages 0 to 17.
Yeah.
That age group, it's less than half the average of normal. Not a lot of kids there. It says there are 0% ages 0 to 4. No fucking babies allowed. No babies. No cars on Sunday. Beaches closed. No goddamn babies.
This place sounds fucking great.
Yeah, it sounds like a paradise if you're old, especially. The age group 60 to 70, more than double the population.
Not so
triple
good anymore.
the 85 and over.
Wow.
Yeah, triple the 85 and over.
They are living long.
They really are. Widowed, 3 times the amount of widowed is normal. So, I mean, everything else is pretty normal. Race and religion of the town, white, it's about 86% white.
Italian.
Yeah, a lot of Italians probably, I would imagine. A few of us Guineas are wandering around there. 2% black, which is way less than the 12% average. 2.5% Asian, they got about half.
Yeah.
So they're working on it. They're trying. You know what I mean? 8.11% Hispanic, which,
that's pretty impressive.
That's about half the average, but still there's
for
some.
a tiny little town like that, that's pretty impressive.
There's some people there religious. It's weird because normally the Northeast it's a little either average or a little less religious, and here 57.4% religious, which is higher than the 50% average. I assume that's because this is still the the shell of the religious upbringing of the town.
And still close to the big cities of New York and Philly, which are heavily Catholic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you're going to get 43% of the people are Catholic here, which is about as expected. 3.3% Jewish. That's
How about
a record.
that?
That's a fucking record for small town murder.
What is this, New York City?
Yeah,
3.3%.
That is a record for small town murder. 1.2% Muslim, another
How
record.
About that?
Holy shit,
Look
another
at this.
record. The political breakdown, the voting, 47% register as Democrats, 52% as Republicans identify there. The median household income here is $58,000, which is about $5,000 over the average of $53,000, which is national. But if you look at it, all the brackets above $100,000 are all below average.
Okay.
It's that sort of thing. Like I'm looking at jobs here, and there are 4 times the amount of construction and maintenance and repair jobs here.
Trying to keep that town back above water.
Yeah, so it's a pretty blue-collar town, and there's probably wealthy people who own some houses and vacation homes and all that sort
Lots
of thing.
Lots of Springsteen fans.
Absolutely, and we go cost of living here is cost of living overall, we do 100 being par average.
Yep.
Cost of living here is 153.
Holy shit.
And that is mainly, it's average in transportation and groceries and healthcare and all that sort of thing. But what's really high is housing at 243.
Yeah.
243.
That's bananas.
It's insane, man. The average median home cost in this town is $451,200.
And you're supposed to afford that on
$58,000 a year. That's not.
Whoa.
26% of these houses are vacant vacation homes. So it's a quarter of the housing is just for vacation homes. When you look at it, most of the houses are between $200,000 and $500,000. 31% are between $300,000 and $400,000.
Holy shit!
So yeah, it's a lot. And then also 28% are between $500,000 and $750,000.
My God!
So that's
a quarter of them.
That's a lot. So
or
between
either $500,000 or $750,000 house.
Between those, you're talking 58% of the houses are in
ridiculous.
Those 2 brackets. So that's a lot.
How do you afford like $1 million house? The mortgage for that? What is that?
Let's find out.
$30,000 a month.
It's what is that, like $50,000 like every 3 weeks?
I
what
don't
do we
know,
do?
Carry the 2.
Well, let's find out. If you want to move to Ocean Grove, New Jersey, let's do the Ocean Grove, New Jersey real estate report. 2-bedroom apartment there on the average is about $1,210, which is about $200 more than the national average.
That sounds great,
that's
actually.
Not as bad.
In comparison to what a mortgage costs there.
Found a few houses here, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot house. $489,000.
My God.
A 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,250 square feet.
$3 million.
$549,000.
Holy shit.
That is insane.
3-bedroom, 1-bath.
And the bargain, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. 1,250 square feet. And the bargain of the week, I found a foreclosure. I'm a value shopper, guys.
A short sale.
Foreclosure, 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 504 square feet. So it's a closet. It's a
nothing.
walk-in closet.
Yeah. It's our studio.
It's basically our studio. $249,000.
Holy shit! They think they're Greenwich
Wow,
Village. What is that?
Intense, man. I'm sure it's right on the beach.
It
but still,
better be.
Things to do.
It
in
better
Ocean
have its
Grove.
own fucking island for that price.
It really should. At least come with a slip with a boat or something. This comes with a yacht.
Somebody that towels off your balls when you get out of the shower.
A ball toweler. Yeah. That's what we need. Honey, I've hired a new ball toweler.
I didn't have to hire him. He came with the house.
He comes with the house. $249K buys you a lot here in New Jersey.
$249K.
Wow. Things to do. And if you find yourself in Ocean Grove, New Jersey, there's, of course, the Great Auditorium. Mm-hmm. That is a big one. These are all in the top 5 of things to do, okay?
There's 5 things to do at least.
There's like 11, and they're all, whatever, but touristy shit, and religious type things.
Yeah.
I think these are 3 out of the top 4. Uh-huh. Great Auditorium, like we discussed, which you should visit because it's 1894.
I'd love to see it.
A cool thing. Me too. The Ocean Grove Women's Club.
Okay.
I don't know why that's a top thing
because there's a bunch of chicks
there. There's a shitload of women there.
Yeah.
It's just that sounds like a bunch of grumpy old women complaining. Is what that's.
Pauly D.
They're all 85.
Yeah, Pauly D. and they're looking to get his laundry done.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to pop my chest hair, see if I can get these broads to do my laundry. And the number one thing listed on their thing as the number one thing to do in Ocean Grove, the Ocean Grove Chamber of Commerce.
What do you do there?
Go there, get some pamphlets for the women's club. Like, is that what you do?
And
then
Great
go visit
Auditorium?
that? Yeah, what the fuck?
That's a boring ass town.
It is. Now let's get into.
And we're doing this podcast, so apparently there's murdering people to do too.
Oh, there is.
Okay.
Let's get into the crime here, which is our area of interest.
Expertise?
And I don't know if I'd call it expertise. We're up to our asses in it, but I don't know if we're
at
experts
least what we
yet.
talk about.
We try.
Yeah.
The crime rate, property crime here, burglary, robbery, theft is pretty significantly higher than the national average.
Makes sense.
Violent crime, murder, robbery, rape, assault, that sort of thing, is even higher above average than property crime. So you get these touristy towns, they get a lot of crime. I don't know if that's just drunk people or people just acting a fool when they go on vacation.
Or just New Jersey.
Or just New Jersey. Or maybe it could be the Pauly D contingency. We don't know these things. Maybe
no idea.
It's just them running wild.
Yeah.
And now let's get into some murder here, okay? Our murders this week, we're going to go back to 1983. Mm-hmm. So picture 1983 New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
gross.
That sounds terrible. Yes, I've been to New Jersey.
I can smell it already.
I don't remember 1983, but I've been there, I think, at that time. And I probably hated it as a small child, I'm imagining. In the early morning hours of April 2nd, 1983, there was a call to the police from a jogger. And Patrolman Kenneth Wittenhauer of the Neptune Police Department responds to the radio call. And the call tells him to go to a vacant lot that's adjacent to a boardwalk in Ocean Grove, or the boardwalk in Ocean Grove.
It's worth $250,000.
It's worth, just that spot, that vacant lot, just one little piece of it is worth $250,000. What Officer Wittenhauer discovers there is a young black female who is nude and battered and dead, clearly.
Okay. Yeah.
She has a bra knotted loosely around her neck.
Oh, God.
And her clothes are in a ball in the corner away from her. And so they find her. So now this is obviously, it turns out that this person is Cheryl Alston. Yeah. She's a 19-year-old resident of the area. She lives around there. They find her. She's lying face up in the center of this vacant lot, completely unclothed except for the bra.
Sure.
So she's naked. They do a little, obviously, further investigation. They discover that she's got just a ton of blunt force injuries all over her.
Okay.
All over her. The injuries to her chest have 1 to 2 inch wide marks. Her face, they said, quote, this isn't me, this is in the police report, quote, pretty much destroyed.
Jesus.
Her jaw appeared broken and her teeth were protruding out.
Wow.
It was so bad in the face that identification of the body was not possible.
Yeah.
Her body was identified through her dental records. That's how they identified, but that's how bad this person was.
Not a fist.
Not a fist. Okay. Not a fist. Now, Cheryl's mother, Cheryl Alston's mother, the night before, she said that she'd picked Cheryl up from the Grand Union, which is a grocery store back there, and she drove her to some friends' houses, and then they went home at about 11:30, quarter to 12. Okay. She said, Mrs. Alston, the mother, said she went into her house. And after she did that, Cheryl went to visit her friend Princess.
Okay.
She's got a friend named Princess, who's an adult woman.
Jersey.
Yeah, she lived just a few. she lived just a few houses down, Princess. So she's going to Princess's house.
Names their fucking kid Princess.
I doubt it was a given name. I don't think that's on her birth certificate.
I hope it's a nickname.
It's in quotes, so that might not even be her nickname. That might be like a made-up nickname for court records.
All right. I can't help it. You said it was an adult woman.
It is an adult woman. Adult. I mean, 19, probably 18, 19, but still an adult.
It was just so sly. Go on, okay.
But no, you wouldn't worry about Cheryl going to her friend's house 3 doors down, named Princess. It's not like Princess is going to do anything bad.
Right.
If you're going to be safe anywhere, it's at Princess's house.
I would think so.
It's going to be at Princess's house. And Cheryl returns home about 12:30 a.m. and sits out in front of the house on their stoop. She just sits out on the stoop. She's hanging out. The mother could see her from the window. She said at about 1:30 a.m., this is Cheryl's aunt and her mom's sister, Angela, arrives home from work. I guess she works second shift. When she asks, hey, where's Cheryl? The mother said that she thought she was outside.
Didn't you walk past her when you came in?
Yeah, she's like, she's not outside. And the mother said, oh, she must have gone back to Princess's house. Because it's like 3 doors down. So they go back and forth. And, who knows? She might have said, hey, come here for a minute. And she went over.
And she's 19.
She's 19.
You don't have to keep track of her anymore.
Yeah, it's no big deal. They looked around the neighborhood a little bit and tried to find her. Just like, hey, is she over here? Is she over there? And finally they were like, who knows what she's doing, whatever. Yeah. They went to bed around 4 o'clock in the morning.
My goodness.
So they stayed up.
Those old ladies are burning the midnight oil.
Well, they stayed up to look for her.
Okay.
That's why they were looking for her. And the one didn't get home from work till 1:30 in the morning. So, I mean, she's not going to go to bed.
You get off work at 1:30 in the morning. I'm going the fuck to bed.
I'm going to be up till probably 8 then because I'm like, this isn't my day. This can't be my whole day. I need time for me, too. Like, I need time to not be working and sleeping. Right. It's fucking horrible. I just don't sleep. That's
I can't
my strategy.
do that. I just go right the fuck to sleep, and then, God forbid, I'm late to work or late to whatever I've got to do. It's going to happen. If I go to bed at 1:30 in the morning, forget it. I'm not waking up.
I choose not to sleep. It's much easier. Try that next time, Jimmy. Just don't sleep. It's good.
Fuck that.
It's good.
You're out of your mind.
Hey, come on. I'm doing podcasts on no sleep. We can do this, man. We can do this. So both women were awoken early. The Alston women were awoken early. The mother assumed that Cheryl had come home and was in her room, but then she heard her phone ring in her room and didn't hear anybody answer. So she's like, that's odd. So she checked and looked in her room. She wasn't there. So she spends the whole day calling her friends, looking for her, just where the hell is her?
Yeah.
Where the hell is her? Where the hell is she? So the next day is a Sunday.
See what happens when you get no sleep, James?
That's what happens. The next day is a Sunday. She goes down to the police station and says, where's my
you guys
my
help?
daughter's missing.
Yeah.
She's 19. I gave her a day. I figured she might be, who knows? 19-year-old kids do shit.
Right.
But now she's missing. And the police at that point inform her that actually she's not missing. We have found her, and she's dead.
Jesus.
And here. So that's not, I don't think, what the mother wanted to hear.
She found her before she did.
Oh, yeah, they found her before they even knew she was missing.
Jesus.
I mean, they found her the next morning by a jogger by the beach found her.
Before she reported it, they already, oh, God, that's so depressing.
They didn't even know. They spent the whole day calling people looking for her when she'd already been found and they were trying to identify her.
As a parent, holy fuck, I can't imagine.
Ridiculous, especially off the stoop. You'd figure, okay, that she's home and on the stoop. Now she's safe.
Yeah, this is the safest she's ever been.
Anything happens, she can run right in the house. No big deal. It's that sort of thing. So they further investigate the scene. The prosecutor's office, the Monmouth County prosecutor's office. They find her clothes, like I said, balled up in a doorway of a nearby bathhouse. There's apparently 4 abandoned bathhouses there.
Not the gay kind.
Not the gay kind.
Right.
Not the decadent kind.
Okay.
The wash the sand and hypodermic needle and toxic waste off of you from the beach
Got it.
kind. Yeah. They had to put those in because people were like, look, I have sludge on me from that fucking ocean. By the way, the shore, they're full of jellyfish in Jersey. It's fucking terrible.
Gross.
Oh, it's the worst, Jersey Shore.
A wave crashed into me. Now I have 3 hypodermic needles in my thigh.
And a jellyfish stuck to my head. It's the worst fucking place in the world. It's terrible, the Jersey Shore. Anyway, they also find, in addition to this, they find various cosmetic items that were identified later as Cheryl's strewn about in there. They find a single trail of footprints from the bathhouse to her body and from the body down to the street, which is Spray Avenue down there.
Okay.
They also find a dented 2x4 nearby with blood on the end of it that they recovered. A 2x4, if you don't know construction, is a piece of wood.
Right.
That's what Hacksaw Jim Duggan used to carry around in the ring.
And they're thick, and to dent
heavy.
one, it's fucking hard.
Yeah, you got to hit something very hard.
Right.
Very hard. It's a hard surface with a lot of force.
Right.
They conducted an autopsy on April 2nd, 1983. It revealed multiple blunt force trauma with penetrating wounds of the left eye, nose, left side of the face, and oral cavity with numerous fractures to the facial bones and lower and upper jaw bones. There was a 3-inch gaping wound of the forehead, causing exposure of the frontal bone of the skull.
My goodness.
Unbelievable. The left eye was pushed inward. Abrasions were found near her neck and on the victim's chest. They revealed horizontal linear contusions consistent with being caused by a 2x4.
You bet.
So they do all that. The doctor would later testify to the injuries in the face, and but
2 inches wide means he hit her with the side of that, not like flat. You know what I mean?
No.
He was bashing,
which is harder,
or she was bashing her. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like a woman crime. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
61% women, though. I mean, the statistics alone show
they don't kill like this, though.
That's true.
Men kill in a very different way.
Yeah, you're right.
The men kill differently.
This is very
than women.
Fucking personal, though.
That's not sexist. Well, I don't even know if it's personal or if it's just someone who's out of control.
Okay.
Or we'll find out.
All right.
Anyway, the doctor here, the forensic who examined her, said that there was evidence of a fracture to bone in her neck, consistent with the ligature found from the bra.
Right.
He said that strangulation probably only produced a loss of consciousness, and that the blunt trauma to the head, chest, and abdomen caused swelling and hemorrhaging, and were the main cause of death.
Bled to death.
So internally. And hemorrhaging, and
that is
from
so
being
terrible.
beaten so horribly. And I don't even know what to say about that. So that's April 2nd. That's very important to note the date, April 2nd, 1983. Now, April 26th, 1983.
5 days later? Wait.
No, 3.5 weeks later. April 2nd to April 26th.
I was going April 22nd.
Oh, no, April 2nd to April 26th. Around 9:20 p.m., we're going to catch up with Carol Peniston. Okay. She's a 47-year-old woman. She's divorced. She lives alone. She's trying to better her life. She is attending a computer course. This is 83, too.
Yeah.
So if you're attending a computer course in 83, you're trying to do something with yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's not a common thing.
Walking around all day, seeing a green tint on shit.
Yeah, people are like computers. What the
hell was I gonna do?
You were trying hard.
Right.
She went to Neptune High School for a night class. They had night classes there. She took a computer course there. But the next day, she did not report to work, and she never returned to her apartment. She's missing. Okay. A week later, police tell the Peniston family they had reported her missing in that week.
Yeah,
and the police call the family and say, "Hey, her car, Carol's car, has been found. It's been involved in an accident, and we found it on the road, and we impounded it."
Okay.
They did get a fingerprint that was not hers off of the rearview mirror of the car.
So somebody adjusted that shit.
Somebody
so they could
adjusted
drive.
it. Now, a man found her purse also, and they questioned the man who found the purse. Now, he was trying to return it to her.
Oh, that's nice.
He found the person was just a nice guy and was trying to find her address and return it to her. So he showed the police where he had found it. It's found outside of a shed in the Ocean Grove area, near Asbury Park. Actually, now on May 3rd, this is when this man leads them to the shed. They go into the shed. It's near an industrial building, and they find the body of Carol Peniston.
Oh, my God. So he found the purse so close to her body.
But didn't know. And she'd been dead for several days.
Oh, Jesus.
They did an autopsy on her that revealed she had been beaten, sexually assaulted, strangled. They found a sneaker imprint on her chest.
Oh, my God.
She had fractured ribs and hemorrhaging of the right lung, vertebrae that were knocked all out of whack, and also damage to her heart, like physical damage to her heart. Medical examiner concluded that whoever did this had stomped on her chest by the sneaker mark, and all that repeatedly stomped on her. But they did narrow the ultimate cause of death down to a ligature strangulation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who are they looking at for this? Who does that fingerprint belong to? Let's find out who that fingerprint belongs to on her car. That fingerprint belongs to a man named Marco Bay, who is actually at this moment in time after they find her car is barely a man.
Really?
Barely a man. His date of birth is April 12th, 1965.
Okay.
So that would make him 17 years old when Cheryl Alston was killed, and that would make him 18 years old when Carol Peniston was killed.
Wow.
That's very important to remember at this point. Marco Bay
I could have guessed Marco, by the way.
Marco, yeah. It's a black guy. It's not an Italian guy.
Oh, really?
Actually. It's a black, Marko-Bey.
Gotcha.
Marco Bay. Everybody involved in this is black in this thing. So it's
both the women
you
were
were thinking
ladies.
situation. And I'm only saying that because I know Jimmy's thinking like the situation is standing. I'm going to kill his broad in the shed. No, it's a black guy. But that makes neither here nor there. But just so you're...
Just for mental picture.
For mental picture. Everybody involved is black.
How big is this guy? He has to be a monster.
He's not even that
Really?
big, but he's a hefty guy.
Uh-huh.
He had been released on this, like I said, the Alston incident murder happened on April 2nd.
Yeah.
He had been released from prison, from jail, and put on juvenile parole on March 19th. So 2 weeks before that, this happened. So they're very interested in this kid. Now, I did so much digging to try to find what he did before this, but they're juvenile sealed records from 35 years ago, and they're just not even not
available.
I found every court document, everything's redacted on it. They even told the jury later on, and we'll get into this, that he had been out of state for the last couple of years, so they wouldn't they wouldn't
even look for him.
Yeah, so they wouldn't. What's the word I'm looking for? So they wouldn't
investigate further, unseal them,
contaminate. They wouldn't contaminate the jury with his past things. Was whatever. So they're looking into him on May 6, 1983 at 5:15 p.m.
See how dumb I am, real quick? I didn't even get anywhere near that word.
At least you didn't think that there's oil in New Jersey, so I'm going to let it slide, Jimmy. I haven't brought up the oil.
It's only in the water
episodes.
From their hair. That's all.
That's it. Perfect. So 5:15 p.m., May 6th, 1983.
By the way, that wasn't black people's hair.
No.
I just mean the greasy Italians.
Yeah, I know that was a...
It's just as racist.
I knew that was a good...
Sounds
right,
just
though.
as horrible.
I can give you a pass on it, though. That's the thing. I can, like I said, Pietragallo is my last name. Pass.
Let's move further before I put my foot in my mouth and sound like an asshole.
Before you are further racist, more racist. So,
accidentally. Go on.
Officers from Asbury Park and Neptune police departments, because those are the two jurisdictions, they find Marko-Bey at his mother's home in Neptune, and they arrest him.
Of course.
For his... Now, they're arresting him first right now for receiving stolen property.
Yeah.
Because his fingerprints
on
her car. Now, 5 hours after he's in police custody, he starts talking.
Really?
He starts talking.
He starts singing?
Absolutely. What he says is he after 5 hours, he confesses to the Peniston murder.
Really?
Yeah, he confesses to it. He doesn't take... It's not that hard to get him to do it, for that matter, either. What he says is he approached Carol as she returned home to her apartment building in Asbury Park, and he tried to rob her. He demanded money from her. Someone exited the building. When they exited the building, this scared Bey, and rather than just robbing her, he grabbed her because he didn't want them to see, so he grabbed her and walked her a few blocks away.
That's kidnapping
to get
already.
Away from it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Walked her down an alley and into an abandoned, like I said, industrial shed. Now, inside the shed, he went through her purse and he told her to take her clothes off.
Oh, God.
Which is fucking the scariest. They could be dragged into a shed and told to strip. Might be the most... frightening thing ever.
At minimum, you could be thinking, he's telling me to do this so that I don't run, because obviously I'm going to look like an asshole running down the street naked.
That's wishful thinking.
Yeah,
that's wishful thinking.
That's fingers crossed. This is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I don't think that's what she's thinking. Probably. Okay. I can't put myself in her head, but I would think that this guy's going to do way worse.
And after knowing what he did do, we know he wasn't thinking that either.
No. At this point, what he said was he saw her looking at him going through her purse, and he thought, "Oh no, she sees me.
She can identify me."
He didn't think of that till then,
right?
Which is his state of mind.
You already walked up to her and demanded money with your face showing.
Insane. He beats her. He causes the blunt force trauma, all the internal bleeding. She had 4 broken ribs and the sneaker imprint. He then raped her, of course, because he's a piece of shit, apparently, and then uses her belt to strangle her. He stole her purse and car, and then was driving to Newark and got in an accident and just abandoned the car.
What an asshole!
Yeah, what a complete asshole.
But I mean, that's if that's your first murder, and we can, I guess, assume that it is. You know what I mean? Because we don't know what he did before.
No.
But he's probably a bit panicked, and that's probably how he got in a car accident.
And we'll find out also, too, he's not in the best state of mind. He's got some chemical...
of course.
He's intoxicated a little bit here, which... That doesn't surprise me. As he's doing things like that. They probably wouldn't have the best lifestyle.
Right.
The police did a search warrant of the house. They did take a couple of pairs of sneakers and things like that. They read him his Miranda rights
right away.
They did it a lot. They did it multiple times.
Kept telling him, by the way, you don't have to tell us. No, I want to talk.
Yeah, they Mirandized him, and then before they asked him about the murder, because they were asking about the car first, and they Mirandized him about the murder, too, because they Mirandized him for every separate thing they were talking to him about.
Way to go, fellas.
They did breaks for dinner. They used the bathroom. They had an hour of rest in his cell. So, I mean, they weren't pressuring him. It doesn't sound like they were putting the screws to him. And then he finally gave a written statement at 10:55 p.m.
Okay.
And he finished up about midnight. In the statement, he said exactly what we just said. He ended up taking $8 from her, by the way. That's what this was all for. This was all for $8.
What a turd.
A woman's life and everything else for $8.
Wow.
So I don't even know what that's just insanity.
I'm just grossed out right now.
That's, yeah. And anybody's at, I'll rape her too while I'm here. So I'm just
$8
horrified. For $8. Yeah, I got $8. That's not quite enough. So, yeah. So anyway, after that, at 12 o'clock, they re-Mirandize him.
Yeah.
And he said he understood. Now, after that, they informed him they wanted to question him about Cheryl Alston also.
Okay.
He's like, oh, shit. He indicated at first that he does not want to talk about Alston. He says he didn't know anything about it. The police continue to try to discuss it with him, as they do. We've all seen Law and Order. They don't just go, oh, you don't want to talk about it? Okay, cool, man.
Cool.
We'll get back to you. Can we get you like a pizza? You want something? Like, no, they're like, no, we're here and we're going to talk about it now, especially since you just confessed to another
We've gone through
murder
5 hours
ago.
of chat with you already, taking breaks and naps.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this one, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
So after a few minutes, finally, he concedes that he had known the victim.
What?
He met her about 3 years earlier.
Okay.
He knew her because they were 2 years apart, a year apart in age. And he also admits that he had saw her the night of her death.
That's not
good. Never, you don't do that if someone died.
You're trying to avoid being captured for something. How about don't put yourself near them?
Absolutely. So that was at midnight, 12:07. They Mirandized him. By 1 a.m., he is orally confessing to the murder of Alston.
He's a dope.
Yeah, he then gives a written statement. About 1:15, he starts that. About 2:45, he's done with that.
We're 2 hours into him 2 hours from him saying I don't know her to I killed her.
That's what I mean.
2 hours.
So all right, fine, I killed her.
That's how dumb guys are.
And he signed this. He signed the cover sheet saying that he acknowledges, he understands his rights. He wishes to waive them and give a statement. Like I said, in the confession, he said he knew her from 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
He said they met by chance on the beach that night. He said that he had already smoked 6 or 7 marijuana cigarettes. So he said he smoked 6 or 7 joints and had drunk at least 140 of drinking 40s and
40
smoking.
and 6 joints?
40 and 6
Dude,
joints. So
he's loaded.
He's feeling it. He's feeling something.
Shit.
He said that he saw Alston and he talked to her and offered her to come smoke a joint with him, and she did it voluntarily. He said after smoking another joint with Alston, he said the two agreed to have sex, so they walked over to the bathhouses. And so he said, here is a quote from his confession statement. So this is not me, and this is a piece of shit speaking. Okay. So here it goes.
That's a warning. This is going to be horrible.
It's going to be horrible, but this is what happened, and this is what he says happened. And you need to know what he says. This isn't what happened. It's what he says happened. He says, quote, we went inside of one, which is the location they were talking about, because police have this as location where we found the body. They have a map thing, so it's one. And we both took our clothes off. She laid her jacket down and laid on top of it. Then I got my nut and I wanted to start again, and she didn't. So he's a classy guy. So we started kissing again, and I started again, and she wanted to stop and started hitting me. Then I got dressed, and I had to go down to the sand, and I dropped her in the sand. I know I beat her, but I don't remember how I did it. Then I remember running. I was going home. I ran down the street behind Palace, and then I went home. I ran down Lake Avenue in Asbury Park, and I turned down Fisher, and I turned on Stratford, and then to Drummond Avenue. I stayed home all night. I woke up the next morning and heard that someone had got killed. I didn't know who it was at the time. I didn't know that it was her until I saw it in the paper. That's his thing. Hey, she wanted it. We were hanging out. Which he might have known her, and because they were around the same age, he might have said, hey, you want to go smoke a joint? She might have went, fuck yeah, that's cool. Let's go do that. I mean, that's all possible. And I don't even know. Maybe she did like the guy. I don't know any of that shit, but it doesn't matter, because then after that, he fucking beats and kills her. So the voluntary, that's all.
I'm more hung up on how little this whole event meant to him. If I'm it's the part where he beat her and then he ran home. Like, Have you ever been in a situation where you've hit a woman?
Like, I just beat her, and I dropped her in the dropped her in the sand
and ran
away.
He remembers all the path he took home, but he doesn't remember how bad he hit her. How many times have you hit women, bro?
Apparently a lot.
Because that shit would stick in my mind.
At 17.
Yeah.
I'd remember.
Yeah, at 17.
I'd remember pummeling a woman to make those kind of injuries that would expose her skull.
Right.
I think I would remember that and crush her face and make her eye go into her
And also,
head.
too, hey, where did the 2x4 come from in that whole, like, we were having sex and that you were that close to a 2x4 that you just picked it up with your dick out and you're beating someone?
If they were in a lot, if they were in a vacant lot, there might have been a 2x4, some construction shit. Remember, 25%, there's a lot of construction jobs there, like I said, so there's 2x4s.
Maybe he just carries one.
This is a 2x4. Maybe he's like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Maybe he comes in, and he just goes and beats people. But he's a piece of shit.
And then he runs down several streets carrying that 2x4.
Just to be clear, I do not think Hacksaw Jim Duggan has ever raped or murdered anyone.
Think so either.
Anyone at all. I know he got caught with cocaine with the Iron Sheik in the 80s, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, so Bay in the statement also claimed that he was very high during the encounter, and he said some of his details may have been flawed. Sure. Yeah, like how he killed her.
Right.
Just basically saying that he became very angry when she didn't want to have sex for a second time, and be even more mad when she started to hit him.
Yeah.
So now we go back to the Peniston case.
Yeah.
Or Cheryl Peniston, and there's evidence there. Like I said, the fingerprints were on the rearview mirror, which is that's a bad one.
That's
right
terrible.
away. That doesn't look good.
That puts you inside the vehicle,
inside the car. Also, they did lots of tests on the victims' coats that found fluids that were consistent with the defendant's saliva.
Right.
Back then, they didn't have DNA, so they do it as genetic markers, and then they'd say like this percentage of this race or this person has this specific genetic marker, and the genetic marker that was left by him had a 2.3% of the black population had that genetic marker.
Wow.
So not a lot.
Yeah.
So it's but it's still 2.3%.
Right.
They can't narrow it down like now where it's 1 in 85 billion. It's not
in a town of 3,000 people, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the fact that he also killed the other one. Let's just say that
let's go.
Odds
this
are pretty
guy's
good.
pretty good for the suspect on this one.
Yep. They did also too for Peniston.
Mm-hmm.
They found other fluids that did not come from him. But
so
they
must have been come from her.
They might, no, from another man. But that could be 48 hours ago.
Oh, okay.
The way it stays in for 48 hours.
She can have a boyfriend.
She could have a boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah, who knows what she's doing? I mean, that's her business.
Right.
Who cares? Doesn't fucking matter to hear. Poor woman's dead, and she got
doesn't matter. His fingerprints on her fucking
fingerprints
car
there, and also too all sorts of genetic. He's leaving blood. There's a lot there.
I'm sure
for them to look at in terms of physical evidence.
Sure.
Now, on July 5th, 1983, so quick moving, he's indicted. The indictment charges are purposeful murder of Cheryl Alston. This is just for Cheryl Alston now, the first one.
Okay.
He's got a felony murder and an aggravated assault and an aggravated sexual assault.
That's not good.
For Cheryl Alston.
Those are steep charges.
Those are aggravators, too, those sexual assaults on the murder. Yeah, absolutely. Before this whole thing started, the defense, and they do this throughout the trial, they beg for the jury to be sequestered. They beg for it. There's their anticipation of unfavorable publicity.
Okay.
They don't want any of his past indiscretions to come out. They don't want the details to come out and not the ones that are allowed in court. They don't want the jury to see anything of this shit because it's all inflammatory.
And they're going to cover it because these are two brutal fucking murders in a tiny little town.
They're gonna, this is going to get noticed.
It's a big deal.
Absolutely. But they do not do that. They say that there will not.
You guys can go home.
They won't sequester. They do advise them the normal shit to. They even say to the jurors, like, when you go home, tell people to go through the newspaper and like cut out anything that has to do with, like, if you have anyone at your home, tell them to go through the newspaper ahead of time and cut out articles that have to do with this case. So they really try to tell the jurors not to. But I mean, if you're in the jury and you're interested and you want more information, who's not going to look at this?
Right.
But what they did too for the jury is, like I said, his priors and his being incarcerated as a juvenile, they told the jury that he was residing outside the state of New Jersey. That's all they said. They didn't say what he was doing.
Like a kid in New York when his mob uncle goes to jail.
Yes.
They're like, he went to college.
He's exploring the mountains. So
he's off at the university.
You know how it goes. He's going to college. So they said he moved. He came into the state on March 19th, 1983. Not he got out of jail.
Okay.
Then.
He lived in Arkansas or some shit.
Yeah, he tries to get the Alston confession thrown out. Mm-hmm. He says that he claims it because he didn't want to talk about it initially. Mm-hmm. So they basically said that you can't keep a what they'll do is, and I've read all these books. I always talk about the David Simon homicide, Life on the Street, Killing Street book is huge with this, or they talk about it a lot when they're doing murder and interrogations, is you can't keep them there too long. Right. If you keep them there 14 hours and then they confess, then that's not going to be a good confession. The judge is going to toss that out in a minute because it's obviously
you took
coerced.
that long to convince them to start talking.
Over the course of 14 hours, too. I mean, people mentally, they're not the same.
God.
Lack of sleep, lack of food, lack of all these different things.
After 8 hours,
stress
a
in the
job,
situation.
you lose your mind.
Yeah, and people have been known tons of times after that to just go, yeah, fine, I fucking did it. If it gets me out of this room, yeah, great, I did it. And then they're like, I'll deal with it later because I didn't know I didn't do it, but it doesn't matter.
Have you seen interrogation videos? The rooms are smaller than the studio. They
rooms
are tiny
small,
rooms.
and they're meant to be intimidating.
Right.
But he's trying to say that he said he didn't want to and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The court finds that they did re-Mirandize him, and they had let time pass, and he had an hour in his cell, and he wasn't under undue stress. He was only there for 6 hours, and he had like 2 hours of breaks. So like you know,
and a nap.
Yeah, and a nap. And they didn't start. He confessed to it in like 45 minutes. It's not like they badgered him about it. So they say the confession stays in. So all that other evidence too from the Alston case comes out, and he's on December 13th, 1983, he is found guilty of the Alston murder.
Holy shit!
Cheryl Alston, which good for her that she gets some justice for this anyway. December 15th is sentencing. Now the penalty phase, it lasts December 14th and 15th. The state just basically said, look at our evidence.
That's it. Yeah.
Fucking kill this guy, please. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me?
He's up for the death penalty?
Oh, he's up for the death penalty.
Oh, boy.
This is a death penalty case. They're going for the death penalty, and they're showing them photographs, too, and slides to establish what it looked like.
The 2x4 beating?
The 2x4, her face unidentifiable and things like that.
With the 3-inch gash on her forehead?
Absolutely.
With a bone explosion. Wow,
horrible.
I pity anybody that was on that jury.
You want to go kill that guy yourself at that
point. To this day, they're fucking just scarred.
Yeah, they have to be. They're normal people.
That.
Bay presented 3 witnesses at the sentencing phase to try to get mitigate. They send people out to try to get sympathy. It's what it is. It's mitigating factors. Yeah. That's what they're looking for. His uncle testified that he grew up in poverty. His mother was an alcoholic. His father left the family when he was 2. He never had any contact with him. Yeah. Which, so what?
I'm trying to find the reason that he bashed open a girl's head.
That happens a lot to a lot of people. They said he was a good student and up until junior high when he lost interest in school and dropped out. He got his GED. They said he started smoking pot and drinking when he was 14 or 15. Always claims he had a problem with drugs. He never had a solid job. All that sort of thing. He's saying
Big Unk, this is every person in America. And I've never bashed open a woman's head. That's just how you grow up, you dickhead.
It's fucking ridiculous. No, it's absolutely ridiculous. His mother also testified that about the poverty and, all that sort of thing. So they really tried to,
he's poor.
The sympathy factor on here. The jury comes back and sentences him to death.
Good.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they say
dealing with it either.
Aggravating factors outweigh, because they actually say they have to write which aggravating factors they believed and which mitigating factors they believed. And they believed, I think, 4 of the aggravators and 2 of the mitigators, but the aggravators far outweighed the mitigators. Yeah. And he sentenced to death. New Jersey, not a big death penalty state.
Nope.
Last execution in New Jersey up to that point was...
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to guess like 62.
1963.
I was
not
so
bad.
close.
That was really close.
That's
good job.
Yeah,
1963. And then it was abolished after that, and then it was reinstated August 6, 1982.
And they haven't killed anybody since.
So this guy really fucked up at killed someone at the wrong time.
There.
It's a year before, and right as he turned 18.
Take
not
that,
smart.
fucker.
Now, 84, the next year in September, is the Peniston trial, the trial for the murder of Peniston. It's moved to Cape May County because of the publicity surrounding the last trial. Everyone in that town has heard about this guy. Yeah. It's impossible not to.
How do you not?
Especially after the trial. You know what I mean? You can't do it.
He was convicted. That makes some fucking news.
Huge. And convicted and sentenced to death. Which was another big deal. It's,
right after it's reinstated.
Yeah. Now, in this case, his lawyer, William Gertie, argues that he didn't commit purposeful murder because he had consumed large amounts of alcohol and marijuana.
What the fuck?
Doesn't fucking matter. Don't care.
I've never been driven to fucking want to... I've wanted to murder people when I was drunk, but I've also wanted to when I was sober.
That happens. I wanted in traffic on the way here. 45 minutes ago, I wanted to kill somebody. Are you kidding me? But
Hilarious.
You don't do it. Yeah. He said he consumed 120 ounces of malt liquor, so 340s.
That's a lot.
340s, and then a bunch of straight rum, and then he smoked, quote, a considerable quantity of marijuana after that. He said he admitted to killing, but he said he didn't know why he did it or how he did it, and he says it shouldn't have happened. He explained that he said he got scared when she was looking at him going through the pocketbook, and then he decided he needed to hit her, and then while you're hitting her, might as well sexually assault her,
and
apparently.
Strangle her.
He says he does not recall stepping on her chest at all.
Really?
That part, no clue. He said the only thing that he remembers was her face and looking at him, and he said, quote, "That's when I started hitting her. It just went too far, something that shouldn't have went on." He testified in both these trials, by the way.
What an idiot.
He kept testifying. He is eventually found guilty of murder, of purposeful murder, felony murder, aggravated sexual assault, kidnapping, robbery, and theft.
Holy shit.
That's a fucking lineup right there.
When
that
you're
is
already
a lineup.
up for death.
Absolutely.
And you're going to get it again.
Yeah. Sentencing, again, they bring the uncle in, they bring the mother in, the whole deal. The mother cries on the stand, says the blame should be placed on her, that it's, her problem. She screwed up. She apologized to the Peniston family and said, maybe if I would have never taken drugs, this would have never happened. So, I mean, yeah, that's great and all, but
that's sweet of you to have some regret of how you raised him, but look,
it doesn't matter now. There's two dead ladies. At this point, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Bay presents at trial, or his lawyers present, testimony of a neuropsychologist that said that Bay has a frontal lobe impairment, and a psychiatrist that says he's got personality disorders, blah, blah, blah. The jurors, have to weigh the mitigating and aggravating, and they found 5 factors mitigating, 5 factors aggravating, and they said the aggravating factors far outweighed the mitigating factors. They deliberate for 30 minutes before recommending the death penalty.
That's just time for paperwork. That's it.
You get in, you said, how
guilty.
Where's the papers?
Yeah.
Let's go. Who's got a pen? I can't kill this guy fast enough. I just can't kill him fast enough. What ends up happening here, so the appeals start. Okay, the appeals start. He appeals on many notes here, and we'll get into the most fundamental of it, and the thing that matters is he argued, first of all, the mid-trial publicity. He said the jurors were contaminated, the whole deal. The main thing he is arguing is the fact that he was 17 when he killed Cheryl Alston.
Okay.
The law says you cannot sentence someone to death when they committed the crime before. That was the thing. He wasn't a juvenile when we sentenced him, but the law says that you can't do it if he committed the crime when he was a juvenile. He's stuck in time at that age at that point in court. Now, during this retrial for Alston, they do find him guilty of purposeful murder and aggravated sexual assault and the whole deal, but they remand his death sentence because it was before he was 18. They take away his death sentence because it was before he was 18. They give him an aggregate sentence of life imprisonment plus 20 years with 40 years of parole ineligibility. That's for Cheryl Alston.
Holy
because
shit.
He was only 17. Now, what they do find, though, is then they also do the Peniston thing, and they had to throw that out at first, too. But on the retrial of that, he is convicted again.
Yeah.
They had a prison guard here also in this one. That was a big deal. A prison guard named Alexander Pearson, who was a corrections officer with him in 83 and 84. And he would just talk to him. Just talk to him.
Yeah.
Because they just talked to the guys. And he said the guy, Bay, told Pearson that he had raped and killed a girl on the beach.
Yeah.
So in 1988, before these retrials, prosecutors went and talked to all the prison guards to see if he had made any statements, and they found that out. He's trying to say in this case that he can't do that because he's acting as a police arm, and he didn't Mirandize him and got a confession out of him.
Okay.
The prison guard's like, this happened over months.
Yeah.
Like, I was just talking to him. I'm just a dude. He's like, I'm not trying to get shit. I don't give a shit if he confesses or not.
Right.
My job is to make sure he doesn't stab another inmate.
Right.
Other than that, I don't give a shit.
I pushed some food through a little hole in his cell. That's all.
And they asked me if he said something, and I said, yeah. He didn't go right away to the cops in 83 and say, he just said this. And
took him 5 years to get it out.
And it was someone asking him. That guy was like, yeah, he said that, but he wasn't he wasn't acting as a police officer is what they were saying. They decide that yes, he wasn't acting as a police officer because he just wasn't doing that. He wasn't. It was clear by their conversations that they were about everything. They talked about family, talked about sports and women and all this type of shit. Just a dude, and the guy says that they try to teach the prison guards to talk to the inmates so they don't kill themselves, basically. Because where he was, there wasn't a lot of other contact with inmates. So they say you have to talk to them,
make friends with them,
make sure they don't kill themselves. They need human interaction. Otherwise, it's going to
people.
You're going to have to clean them up out of their cell. Otherwise,
and
so
you don't want to do that.
Advantageous to them. Anyway, what they do is about the beach thing, too. They end up later on. It's very clever. They end up looking at all the they can't find another murder from the time he was arrested to the time he got out of jail, except for that one. Because he's saying, I didn't tell Pearson that I killed that girl on the beach and raped her. And they're saying, well, she's the only girl who was raped and killed on a beach in the time you were out.
How about that?
So that's the only one you could have killed.
Take
so it's
that.
her. Go fuck yourself, mister. So they convict him again. This is 89. He's convicted again. Like I said, they do keep the death sentence for Peniston because he had just turned 18.
I love it.
Just turned 18.
Yeah.
He really fucked that one up bad. Now, he's on death row now.
Really?
By the way, let's do a day on death row. I have a what a death row day
23 hours in
goes by. Well, let's find out. Let's see here. They're awakened at 6:30 a.m. They eat breakfast in their cells. They also have lunch and dinner in their cells. Plastic utensils, plastic trays, the whole deal. No personal decorations. No metal bars either, like old school. It's the doors.
It's a door with the slat,
which is worse, I think. Each cell has a bed, a steel sink, and a toilet, a wall-mounted toilet. Also a table affixed to the wall. Cinder block walls, painted blue, white, or gray, cement floors. So we're getting this is a depressing environment.
Yeah.
They're allowed to have televisions, radios, and an ice chest. Which that's not bad.
Yeah.
They wear khaki pants.
No refrigerator. They have to have an ice chest.
Yeah. You can probably make things out of the shit inside a refrigerator. Elastic drawstring khaki pants, that sort of thing. Only personal effects are you can have a watch and religious medals. That's it. That's the only personal shit you can have.
How shitty is that to have? That's a torture technique, that watch.
Yeah.
To watch time go by.
You wouldn't want one. By 8:30 a.m., they're allowed to spend time in the recreation area. There's a cage without walls where they play cards and do puzzles and that sort of thing. They have 90-minute increments during the day. Only 3 prisoners are out
at a time.
Yep. They can go every other day. They can go outside for 2 hours. Again, only 3 people out at a time.
Every other day.
They have. They're not given access to weightlifting equipment either. They can't lift weights. They can.
Jeffrey Dahmer got killed.
Yeah, they can play basketball. Like I said, they serve lunch in the cell. The whole deal. They can have no more than 2 visits a month from immediate relatives. Visits are 1 hour. The only people inmates can meet without glass partition are other inmates, prison personnel, clergy, and lawyers.
You can't even see your family.
You can't ever touch them. There's no touching. When they leave the unit for any reason, they have to wear handcuffs and leg irons. The whole deal. So
God,
it's a serious thing.
And that's death row.
That's death row. Yeah,
holy shit,
it's tough.
That's not good.
It's not good. It's depressing, and you're going to die, which would be more depressing.
Like that's the light at the end of the tunnel is like dying and getting out of that. But meanwhile, when people talk about when somebody gets convicted of gets the death penalty, we have to pay for them to be on death row for 20 years or more. Fine, I'm okay with it if that's what it is.
It's not great.
That's horrible.
It's not like they're in there partying.
No,
it's terrible.
That sounds.
It's almost
awful.
worse than death. It seems like.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's more appeals. Also, July 28th, 1992, the state Supreme Court of New Jersey upholds the death penalty law in New Jersey because there had been some challenges there. 1995, he has more appeals. The death sentence is reaffirmed in 95. 97, he has another appeal. This is another one based on confession, saying that based on the confession he gave at the police station, saying
they drug it out of him.
They drug it out of him. He didn't have a lawyer present, blah, blah, blah. They said you didn't ask for a fucking lawyer and you signed a sheet and you had plenty of arrests, so eat shit. Convictions are affirmed. Death penalty still on. Still on. By March of 2000, he files a petition for habeas corpus in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey, raising 20 claims, saying his conviction and his sentence have problems.
20 of them.
20 claims saying all this. They keep rejecting his appeals. In 2005, New Jersey lawmakers vote to suspend the any executions in the state while a study is commissioned examined on the fairness and expense of the state's death penalty, how it's distributed and what it costs as compared to whatever. Governor Richard Cody signs the bill on January 12, 2006. And finally, after several years of proceedings in the district court, the death penalty is repealed in New Jersey in December of 2007, and Bay's death sentence and everybody else's death sentences are commuted to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
So that's that.
So when they have life without parole, do they get that exact same treatment?
No, it's not death row anymore.
Right.
But it's still not. I mean,
I wish they would get that.
Regular prison's not much better. Regular prison is that, plus you got to deal with other inmates.
Right. And you got to do it in your room with you.
And you have a dude in your room with you, and more chance of getting stabbed by somebody. And
I'd rather him put up with all that other shit for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Put up with all of that shit for the rest.
Look at your gray walls forever. Enjoy that, asshole. Yeah, good job. Every other day you can go outside, but don't touch those weights. New Jersey.
You'll never hug your mom again.
Never. New Jersey was the first state to impose a moratorium on executions through legislation and not executive order.
Really?
They're the first ones to actually examine it and do a study on it and say, this is too expensive and it doesn't work. So
how about that?
Let's get rid of it. So they get rid of it there, and no one was executed from 1963 until they repealed it. They actually never executed someone.
I remember that.
So interesting right there, and that is Marco Bay, a complete piece of shit, and that's
bananas.
Poor Cheryl Alston and
what a terrible story.
And and so I hope he is rotting nicely. Let's just hope for that. Wow, what a fucking mess.
I hope he still hasn't hugged his mom.
Yeah.
I hope he's still just hating life.
Ocean Grove, New Jersey sounded like a much nicer place before you heard that story, I bet, besides the religion.
Besides being in New Jersey.
If you enjoyed that story, you're a sick bastard. But if you enjoyed our telling of that story,
we love you for it.
We love you for it. And you can help us out by going on iTunes and telling us how much you enjoyed it, or telling us anything you want. Just give us the 5 stars. Yeah. Huge on the business end. Like we said, if that's not enough, you can go to patreon.com/crimeinsports, and you can make a donation there, one-time donation. You can do through PayPal. Crimeinsports@gmail.com is our PayPal there. Also, if you just want to get a hold of us, you want to talk to us, you want to say something, you got a case, you have a suggestion for us.
We like those.
Anything you want. Yeah, we love those. Anything you want at all, you can do that by reaching us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/smalltownpod, on Twitter @murdersmall, and we have some fine people that donated to Patreon and PayPal and were so nice to us this week.
Did.
Jimmy, why don't you hit us with that list?
Kellen Englert, Kristen Keene, John Burford, Monica Robertson, Will Jacobs, Eric Pennywell, I'm not sure. Pennywell. I don't know. It's spelled like the pasta. Pennywell.
All right. Okay.
Eric, that guy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Joshua Hoffman, Graham McColgan. Graham or Greamy? I'm not. Graham. Maybe it's Graham.
That's Graham.
McColgan. Is it?
Yeah, it's Graham.
G-R-A-E-M-E?
Yeah, it looks like Green.
Yeah,
it's Graham.
All right. Well,
weird
McColgan.
way to spell it, but it's
That's
Graham.
Fascinating. Stina Gardner, Cammie Payne, Zach Gallagher, Lindsay McIntyre, Laura Murr, and then Melissa Martin emailed us and told us that her husband is now listening, and he was making dinner listening to us while she emailed us, which was fascinating to me.
We love that. We love to hear couples when they listen together. That's the best. It's like we're helping their relationship a little bit by not being
the happy that plays
shithead.
This together stays together. Isn't
Absolutely.
That how it goes? I think
that's what it is. It plays is interested in murder together, stays together.
That's it. If you want to reach me, I'm at Whisman Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Find me, interact. It's fun to hear from you guys, and I really appreciate it and enjoy it. So get involved.
Definitely. And I am at Jimmy P is funny, or you can get real adventurous and spell my last name. I suggest cutting and pasting from the show description and do that. Find me on all the requisite sites and friend me and say hello. And that's it for that, guys.
So much fun.
So much fun. And we can't wait for next week, guys. We'll see you next week. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.